We have alert day on this Friday as we have a lot of elements to break down right now. We have rain, snow, and gusty winds all on tap, of course, sparking that alert day. Soaking rainfall, let's start there. We've already been seeing a lot of rain across the area so far as we were wrapping up the month of February and now headed into March. So some localized flooding going to be a concern, but also staying on that flooding theme, some lakeshore flooding, because we're going to look at wind gusts 45 towards 50 miles per hour this afternoon. And that means our lakeshore communities, you're going to be working with that northeasterly wind. So keep an eye to those conditions, because that's also going to be another element with this alert day. And into southeast Michigan, we're looking at some wet and heavy snowfall. Of course, with this tracking rain and snow, you have a lot of water that we're working with. So we are going to be keeping an eye on the rain and snow lines. So this is our weather alerts. You've been getting them through the WTOL 11 weather app. So this is what we have, where we have that pink color. That's going to be that winter storm warning. So that's for our 3 counties into southeast Michigan, and then also Williams and Fulton County as well. The reason that we have these winter storm warnings is because we're going to be watching for that rain snow line and some pretty intense snowfall rates. So that's why we have sparked that warning. Of course, you are going to find that advisory. That's in that purple color. So that's going to be for Lucas County, Henry County, and Defiance County. So of course, you can notice that the weather may be a little bit tricky rather than just our everyday routine weather forecast. So right now, satellite and radar, it's already starting to look fairly busy. And you can see that we have a little bit of blue further north, and then we have that green off towards our south. You're actually going to find that just to be south of the Maumee. And as far as what's actually reaching to the ground, so far this blue, not actually making it. It's evaporating in the drier air. Those easterly winds bringing in a little more of that drier air. So we just haven't seen a lot as far as that wet weather making it to the surface. We are, though, getting a sensor in Findlay at the airport that is reading rainfall, making it to the ground. So we're going to continue to see that moisture move in. So far, mainly just rain making it to our level, but at times it's going to be heavy. You can see heavy rain around Van Wert, and then further west, we will have our turn of picking up the buckets of rainfall as we continue through the day. Hour by hour forecast for us. So we do have this motion coming from the south towards the north, bringing in the moisture. Really going to be watching temperatures at this time and also those precipitation types, because we are going to have that rain snow line. Now this has this a little bit further south. I anticipate this to be parked more between Monroe, Lenawee, Williams, and Fulton counties. So that line of rain and snow going to be very crucial, because on the northern side of that line, we're going to be seeing not only a little bit of a rain and mix, but also then a big lump of snow. So we're going to be looking at some of those heavier totals. Also, if you're in the rain zone, you're also going to have that heavy rainfall as well. Now this system is going to be working through even through the evening. So that evening commute going to be tricky as far as some of those visibilities in the snow section, as we will have those intense snowfall rates. But of course, heavy downpours also going to slow folks down on the highway. That's going to last even into the dinner hour. If you are going to try to maybe head out to some of those basketball games, just keep that in mind here on this Friday night. Rain totals from the system going to be looking at about 1 inch to 2 inches. And not only are we working with all these different colors on here, but those gusty winds as well. Now the system will leave a really quick burst of snowfall on the backside, but here we are at 11 o'clock, and the storm, the majority of it is already making its exit. So this is what we're looking at as far as our alert day totals. Let's start with that cold soaking rain. Just like Monday, we have kind of a bookend here with our forecast on this Friday. We will have that brief wintry mix as that moisture pushes in, but really we're going to be measuring in the rain gauge about 1 inch, if not up towards 2 inches for those who are along the Maumee River and then off towards our south. That also, though, including the metro. But just north and west of the metro, along the state line into Monroe, Lenawee, Fulton, Williams County, in that lighter blue section there, you're going to have some rain and some snow that tries to mix in. So that rain is going to cut down on your snow totals a little bit. Of course, 1 inch of rainfall could be in the mix, but we're also watching those snow totals to be around 1 inch, even up towards 3 inches. But really where we watch that placement for that snowfall is going to be very close to where we have some of those heavier pockets. So all of Hillsdale County and even the northern portion of Lenawee County, we are watching there for 3 to 5 inches, if not a little bit higher in some isolated spots. So that's not going to be a location that we pick up a lot of rain, and that's why we're just going to have those higher snow totals there. Now, as far as impacts for your alert day, you're going to find flooding. We had talked about it early on here in our forecast. Lakeshore localized flooding, all going to be concerns for many of us across the area. As far as travel, if you are out and about this afternoon and evening, just with the intense and very heavy precipitation rates, just take it a little bit slower there on roadways. Though road surfaces, they are above that freezing mark. Just keep an eye as far as maybe some reduced visibilities at times, or also just even some hydroplaning. So again, just travel a little bit slow today. I get it's Friday, you want to get home, but we all want to get home. So take it easy out there. Winds also going to be a factor, as those wind gusts will be around 45 miles per hour. That's one of the reasons why we have that lakeshore flooding. But then also for those who do not have power still into southeast Michigan, of course, you don't want to hear additional delays as far as getting that switch turned back on. Now here's a look at those wind gusts. Through the morning, they've been just kind of in that breezy feeling, but it's really the afternoon and early evening, 4 or 5 o'clock, that we'll find our peak winds to be around 45 to even towards 50 miles per hour. So then we will have that system that starts to push through Friday night that will change our wind direction for us as we head into the weekend. But yes, wind gusts, they're going to be around 45 miles per hour for many of us. Of course, lakeshore communities, we're going to be watching here for those conditions as far as those wind gusts, and then also, of course, be keeping an eye to those conditions that are maybe a little bit iffy for that lakeshore flooding. Now, I'm watching temperatures because everybody's been holding above the freezing mark in Northwest Ohio. Southeast Michigan this morning, we were hovering right above the freezing number, but here we are in Monroe, 36, 34 in Adrian, and 33 in Hillsdale. It's going to be a crucial number as far as watching for those precipitation types. Of course, with the storm today, download the WTOL 11 weather app. If you already have it, you've been staying ahead of the storm and getting updates. But of course, you can always check radar as we have that change in precipitation, plus the hourly forecast, keeping an eye on current temperatures, and even looking ahead to the weekend. So make sure you have that app. It is free to download. But speaking of the weekend, looking at that forecast, at least it's mild. So no matter what we pick up for today, whether it's rain or snow, a lot of us are going to find our temperatures in the mid 40s on Saturday and upper 40s by Sunday. So mild feeling for both days, just a little more cloud cover to kick off the weekend. But Sunday, I'm planning on bringing a little more sunshine into the area. So happy to see that one. Now temperatures, though they are climbing through the weekend, we really take off Monday with a high of 58 degrees, but we will have some rainfall to go with it. Then through the week, we're fairly dry until we have another system that we'll be watching towards the later half of next week. Temperatures, though, are going to be below average. We're actually going to find those highs to be in the mid to upper 30s. Typically for early March, temperatures would be into the low to mid 40s. So though we're just a little off track, it'll be a little bit cooler, which is, well, very different from February, which was pretty mild. Of course, though, as March gets settled in, we'll have more updates on the WTOL 11 weather app for that extended forecast, but also, though, for updates for today on our alert day.